Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Dear Soul Aunty. And my name's Lisa. I'm going to be your host for today, and I'm joined by the lovely Zainab, who's my
Hello.
co-host. Thank you, Zainab. And so, yeah, we're here today to discuss mastery. That is the topic of the moment. So I want to actually really break it down in terms of what mastery is and how to actually become a master of yourself and your life, and the reason why it's so important to discuss. As you know, on this show we're discussing spiritual concepts regarding improving your spiritual life, which is basically your life. Because say we are, we're here spirits having a human experience, not the other way around. So in a different energy, we were told that we are we're imperfect, we are sinners, these negative things. And I think that has clouded our view of ourselves. It's left us disconnected to the real power within. As we know, that is the most powerful source, the creative source. You can call it God, you can call it universe, whatever your, name for it is, it boils down to the same thing. So our show is here to encourage and motivate and inspire people to reconnect with themselves using various tools such as meditation or breath work, and all of those things are actually building on you stepping into your mastery, shall we say. And when you step into your mastery, your life then becomes a lot more joyous, a lot more peaceful, more abundance, more love, and we're raising our vibration to meet the dimension that we're moving into, which is the fifth dimension. Whereas in the third dimension, there's a lot more fear, anxiety. What we're really here for is to motivate and inspire a community. And so we decided, myself and Zainab, that this is the best way for us to actually give back to give back to the community, number one, and create a community, because we want that input as well, and we want to provide that space, hold that space where people feel safe enough to have that conversation. So, what is mastery? I call it mastery. I think at the moment it's kind of a bit of a buzzword because a lot of people are talking about mastery. If you look at some of the ancient masters, shall we say, the ascended masters, what was it that people really loved about them? People like Jesus Christ, Buddha, all of these masters, they left a certain teaching, or they lived a certain way, shall I say, and they were a master of themselves. We're thinking about being able to healing the sick. All of these things are things that a human being can do or has done in the past. Mastery, or they held certain beliefs of compassion, love, peace, loving one another completely and unconditionally. We as people, ordinary people, can also step into mastery. It's about acknowledging who you really are as an infinite being of love. We are built from the Creator, and we are part of the creative source as well. So we are also an infinite being of love. When you're a master, you're actually living the life of happiness, joy, peace, and love. This is something that takes work. It's not something that happens overnight. If you think about your life in terms of your own happiness and peace and joy, are you really happy in your life? Number one. Where does your joy and happiness come from? How are you feeling joyful within your life? Are you feeling abundant? I'm not talking about just money, but are you feeling wealthy in your health? Are you feeling wealthy in your community in terms of the people you have around you? Are you able to sort of manifest what you want in your life. And also, are you able to heal? You know, people believe, I believe that we can actually heal ourselves. You know, we're taught that, you know, we need this tablet and we need that and we need this and we need all these other things to heal us. I'm not saying that people shouldn't take their medications or
Medication, sure. No,
affirmations and things
no.
like that. No way. But there's another school of thought that believes that, you know, our body can heal itself, you know, under some certain conditions. You know, our cells and our bodies actually are tuned in. Part of our DNA is actually tuned in to the way we think and the way we eat and the way, you know, it's a complete holistic approach. Healing. It's not just, you know, one dimension. It's a multi-dimensional aspect of ourselves. And multi-dimensionality is, again, that's a quantum kind of belief. There's a shift on this planet. We are becoming more multi-dimensional instead of being just linear beings. Another point I think around stepping into your mastery is living on purpose.
Yes.
You know, a lot of us are just in 9 to 5 jobs that we actually don't like. You know, we're just doing it to pay the bills. We're just doing it because that's what everybody else is doing. We all have our bills and our lifestyles to maintain. But what is it that you actually really want to do? You know, what is it that's your, you know, your burning desire that you want to do? And I think, to me, when you step into your mastery, those opportunities come to you, and it opens up to your true purpose in life. So those are just some of the things I believe mastery is. I think there's more. There's a lot
Hmm.
more to it, but I think those are the 3 key things. Do you know who you are, and do
Yes,
you
yes.
accept who you are? You know, are you living happy in joy and abundance, or and are you living on purpose? So I'm going to hand over to you, Zainab. What's your take on this? What do you think?
Thank you, Lisa. Yes, absolutely about like who am I? Who are we? Right? So outside of what LinkedIn says we are, you know, I'm a teacher, I'm a butcher, I'm a baker, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I am a white lady, a black lady, a man, I'm this age and that. These are all your life circumstances, but actually, who are you? Do we even, you know, to begin with that? And knowing that you are not just here to dot the i's, cross the t's, um you know, meet these, oh, it will froze for a minute there. Who are we and what are we here to do? Are you here to you know, take this book of life, like tick, go to school, get a job, get married, get divorced, whatever, you know, retire, die, you know, beyond what are we here to actually do, right? So I think with mastery we need to first off start with actually, do we know who we are? Do we know what we want? Or are we just following our conditioning? Are we following what society tells us to do, what we're expected to do, what we think is the right thing? um, Without any judgment, just, you know, are we happy, like you said? Because if you are just following the timetable of life and you're doing what society expects us to do, then you might be, you know, you might be doing well in the eyes of the world. You have a good job, a nice house, nice kids, nice husband. In the eyes of the world, you might be doing very well. But like you said, are you happy? Are you abundant? Are you peaceful? Do you wake up in the morning and are you okay? You know, actually okay, really? And one has to ask themselves that question. It's really important. And I think if you're, I don't believe in coincidences. So I think if you found your way to our podcast, I think you are at a stage in your life when you are asking yourself those questions. Because I think if you were not on the same frequency, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't find us. So it can be a scary prospect, but it's a really, really important self inquiry to ask yourself, like how am I doing? And if it when it's all said and done, what will I, you know, what will I look back and think about my achievements? And Yes, so self mastery is so important, and it's so much bigger than what we were taught in school and what society teaches us about happiness and what we need to achieve and who we need to be. So this is such an important topic, and I wish it was something that we taught. We were taught from childhood about following our joy, doing what lights you up from the inside out, not just getting up and going to work because you have to pay the bills, but actually doing what you enjoy doing what you would do for free in any case if you could, right? And I'm not, little sort of downplaying the difficulties that people have, the cost of living crisis, and the way of the world at the minute. So it's people might think, oh well, doing what I enjoy won't pay my bills, but it's sort of bigger than just paying the bills. It's really sort of what we're really here to do on this earth. And I think some of us have a nagging feeling that it's something else. There's something tugging at you saying this is not quite it, and you'll know there'll be an inner knowing that there's something else. And if you have that tugging at you, it's time to start this mastery, looking inside and seeing what's your calling, what's the little voice inside, that's your intuition, that's coming from your heart, not your head. What's it trying to tell you?
Absolutely. I want to pick up on that point you mentioned about your heart, not your head. Mind, should we say, always wants to make, we've got to think logically, we've got to analyze it in a way that makes sense to your ego. You
Mm-hmm.
know, a lot of things that make sense to your ego don't make sense in the universe. Because the
Yes,
universe is about heart consciousness and about that quantum connection is always through your heart. It's not through your mind. You can't understand these concepts through your mind. You can only understand these concepts through your heart because that's how you feel and how you are, basically your emotions. You quite rightly said, it's going to be your heart and your inner self picking up on these things, picking up on your unhappiness, picking up on, what you're supposed to be doing in your life. That's not to say that, what works for one person works for another person.
no,
Everyone has their sole purpose in this world, and sometimes your sole purpose is to be the train driver, you
sure,
know,
yeah,
because we need train drivers.
100%,
you
yeah, yeah.
know, sometimes
Mm.
your sole purpose is to be, a machinist, for
Sure,
example,
yeah,
because within your environment, that's what you needed, or from previous lives or whatever you have
yes,
you.
that's right.
So, it's not we're not talking about when you find you got supposed to be this
Big
celebrity
grand, yeah,
person,
no, yeah,
right? No, it's not it at all. It is being comfortable and happy in whatever you are doing, and
yes.
you know your peace and joy could be being a train driver. There's
Absolutely,
nothing wrong
yes,
with that at all.
absolutely, absolutely, and that's the point, Lisa. If you
You
if
know,
you are getting joy and peace, then go with the joy and peace,
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
that looks like.
that's the
Yes,
goal. Exactly. That is the goal. But we're here to guide and inspire people to realize that if you do feel that, that's not for you, you're only doing it to pay the bills, and,
sure,
you don't get up in the morning feeling, fantastic about what you're doing. You need to change it. I'm a strong believer in if you're not happy with something in your life, you need to change it. That's not even adding on any sort of spiritual contexts or anything like that. That's just basic well-being for your own well-being, for your own mental health. If you're not happy with things, um, you know, the tendency is for people to complain about it constantly.
sure,
This is kind of linking into mastery as well. Are you a complainer? Because when you're complaining, all you're doing is bringing more of what you're complaining about to you.
yourself, yeah,
So you're not mastering. If you're able to, well, most times it might take a little bit of tweaking here or tweaking there, or to change your life around. But to become the person that you want to be, you have to be the person that you want to be, if that makes sense. You know, so for example, if you want to aspire and really move ahead in the company that you're working for, you've got to be the best employee. Whatever you're doing, really, you have to aim to be that 100%. You're putting in 100% into what you're doing. And the only way you can put 100% into what you're doing is if you really want it. You really want it. You really believe in it. You're really, happy and want to go for that. Otherwise, it will never work, because that's just again cause and effect, isn't it? That's one of the laws of the universe. Energy will go where, energy goes where intention flows, as they say. So if you have that 100% intention, that is where the energy is going. And that really is the key to mastery. The key to it is really sitting in that energy and being in that positive energy, in terms of your intentions, your actions, your words, your environment. And then you're actually moving to where you need to be, because that energy is flowing into that intention. So it is, as I said, it's not something you can understand and try to live it through your mind. You have to be it. You have to feel it, and everything is energy. Every single thing is energy. So if you think that you can just, telepathically, or it just doesn't work that way, you have to put your 100% energy, your intentions, your gratitude, your all of your beliefs, and has to go into it, because then you're connecting to that quantum source, and everything will open up for you. That's what I believe. So one of the common things that I sort of mentioned there was the complaining and the gratitude. This is something that I really, really think is absolutely key. If you're trying to change your life and move into, more abundance, more happiness, you have to practice gratitude. And something that I started doing years ago was writing about these 3 things every day that I was grateful for. I would find 3 things morning and night to be thankful for, be grateful for, because the more you're grateful for things, the more you have to be grateful for. So it's another practice of mastery that is essential. If you're not grateful for just what you have right now, why should you get more? You're not really feeding into that energy of, being aware that what you have already is fantastic. So many things that we take for granted in life, like you mentioned, living in the moment, living for now, comes into it, because if you're living for now, you're grateful for what you have right now. You're not thinking, oh well, if I had a little bit more, then I could start living next year when I move house, and then I can start living. Life just doesn't work like that. You don't know what's around the corner this time tomorrow or next year. You may not even be here. So you have to be happy in this moment right now, and be grateful for what you have and practice it. These are all practices, all of the things about acknowledging who you are, living the life of happiness, joy and abundance and gratitude. And these tools are things that not just to talk about, we have to practice them. And there's something, I saw a podcast the other day, and this lady, she's amazing. She actually inspired me. She was talking about, are you repelling or are you receiving? These are the 2 states in the universe
that we're in, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it just made me think, wow, talking about complaining,
Yes.
if you're complaining, you're totally repelling.
all day.
You know, you're not in a state of receiving at all, because all you're doing is, well, you could be in a state of receiving. All you're doing is receiving the
The,
same, you know,
yes, the same stuff you're complaining about. Yeah. Mm.
the same thing that you're complaining about. Exactly. Fantastic. I'll actually have to try and see if we can get her on our show, because she'd be a good person to interview. That inspired me to add that into this
Mm.
mastery discussion, because it's the state of receiving, and it is acknowledging the universe is the creative source of us and everything, and all of there's an infinite amount of abundance, love, peace, and joy out there. Um, so let's tune into it. Let's connect to that and leave the lack and the anxiety and the fear that's not actually helping us in our lives to progress. What do you think, Zainab?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more,
I've been
Lisa. And I
talking
think
for
no, no, I would say I couldn't agree more with about the gratitude and the non-complaining. And I think the more you become a grateful, the more it's like snowballs. So you notice more things to be grateful for, then more grateful things that you need to be grateful for happen. And sort of the other day I walked out the door and all the trees on my road were really blooming, like it's all green. I thought, wow, look at that abundance. And for me, I've got to a stage now where I just, how green these trees are is just so grateful for that level of abundance. And when we think of abundance, we always think of money, but like you said, it's not about money, it's about everything. It's about being able to appreciate the trees, the road, the people I come in contact with, the birds, just wow, just to be alive. But it takes time to get there. And it just starts with doing the small things. So, for example, the gratitude list, like you say, before bed, in the morning, whenever. And I now don't really write them down anymore. I do them in my head. I just do a little. Um, and, whilst you're brushing your teeth, you can do it just any time in the day, few minutes, just think about what you're grateful for. Or if you can, put it onto your phone or write it down. If you give yourself a bit of time and write down a list before bed. And it really does. And it's the quickest way to raise your vibration. And it really does uplift us. And also non-complaining. Many years ago I read The Power of Now, and in one of the chapters he talks about non-complaining. And it's starting small. So, for example, we don't realize we're always grumbling about something. We're in the queue in the supermarket, and it's like, oh, it's taking so long. Oh gosh, why is it taking so long? You wait for the lift to come. Oh, it's taking so long. I've got time. And it's just a general grumbling. And they're not necessarily big things, but that just becoming aware that you're generally always a bit grumbling. Oh, my tea's cold. Oh, just this grumbling, a constant all day. And then we grumble about the little things, and then we're always grumbling about all things, and it sort of escalates. But once you start to notice, hang on a minute, I'm always complaining, you then are able to catch yourself, and then it gets less and less and less. And absolutely, it's so important. And if you can, when you catch yourself complaining, then you're present and you can then change it to, I always say, change it to something you're grateful for. So if I find myself complaining about something, I think, hang on, I'm complaining, right? What am I grateful for? And I use that to sort of like turn the whole situation around really quickly. But those two are key, Lisa. Key for mastery, key for just life in general, just key to live the best life that we want on purpose, like you said, in peace and harmony and gratitude. Without that, we're just not going to get very far. So this is just key.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Zainab. That's great.
Welcome.
Yeah. So the lady that I saw, her name was Erin Lyons.
Interesting.
So
I'll
if
look
you
her
want to
up.
check her out as well,
Mm.
yeah, look her up, because she's phenomenal. She's actually a channeler.
Wow.
And I think, to be honest, I was really, really blown away when I watched her on YouTube. So fantastic. And on to channeling thing, I think anyone can actually be channeling.
Mm.
She was fantastic, and very much on the very much on the spiritual concepts that we are here
Mm.
discussing. So if you can get even more benefit from, and the more of these programs you watch, the books you read, You
Sure.
know, it's all part of it as well. Obviously, the tools that we're giving you here will help you, but there's also books that we will, in time, will be recommending people can read. There's podcasts. There's lots of different podcasters now. You know, discussing these concepts because we're just in a time of complete shift into this multidimensional. So there's a lot of resources out there now, and it's fantastic. It's a great time, as they say,
It
to
is a
be
great time.
alive.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Right.
we've all chosen to be here to be part of this magnificent shift as well.
Yeah.
So that's great, and I think it's been a fantastic conversation.
Been so good. Yeah.
Please join us again. Yeah, it's been absolutely phenomenal. I'm really pleased that you've joined us. Thank you so much, Zainab, for
Thank
your
you.
contribution as well. And as I mentioned before, please like and subscribe to our channel
Mhm.
so that other people can find us, and you can also find us again as well. So that will always help. Do you want to add anything before we go,
No,
Zainab?
it's been such a great episode. Thank you so much. And I just want to finish by saying, look, you are your own savior. No one is coming to heal you. You are healing yourself. No one's coming to save you. You will save yourself. It is a great time to be alive. Like Lisa said,
Absolutely.
there's lots of books, teachers, resources. The tools are there to help you, but you've got to do the work. And you know what? The good news is you can do the work. So get out there. Love you so much. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you again.
Yep. Bye for now.